Hey, aloha, everybody. Welcome to Burke Basics. I'm Dwayne Baker. And you know what? I want to talk to you about powerful teaching and learning, and I want to talk to you specifically about the four habits rubric. This is at the heart of powerful teaching and learning. It's what you use when you go and do a learning walk. And I just want to give you an overview of if you're not that familiar with it, or maybe it's a new way of thinking about it. But I just want to show you how I think about the four habits rubric. First of all, I've been doing this work for over 2 decades in classrooms, done tens of thousands of classroom observations. During that time period, I've been able to make instruction simple in my own brain. Again, I know that there's models out there that have 4 domains, 22 components, 76 indicators, 673 strategies on a 4-point scale, and that's a lot, and I get it. But when we're talking about our own craft, our own habits, our own instructional habits, we want to keep it simple. And we're focusing on 4 things. And we've got a rubric that helps you keep it simple and keep it focused on your own practices. So this is what the rubric looks like. You hopefully you have a copy of that. If not, you can definitely get a copy. And the main things we're looking for is actually in the third column there. But the four habits rubric has 4 things. It's got ready to, we're going to go from the bottom up here, ready to learn. And then the next one up in the green, that's what to learn. And then the blue is talk to learn, and the yellow is model to learn. And ready to learn has to do with a really a safe environment, and then what to learn has to do with the learning target, and talk to learn has to do with the kids really explaining their thinking to each other, and model to learn has to do with getting the kids on very kinesthetic, hands-on sensory learning using visuals, pictures. So here's the rubric. It's just 4 things, but even this, even though it's more simple than a lot of models out there, this could be overwhelming at times. So I just want you to, over the last, 15 years, let's say, teachers, I've asked teachers, like, how do you read the rubric? How do you think about the rubric? And I want to share some of my favorites with you. A lot of teachers talk about how they like to start at the bottom and work their way to the top, and they kind of some people talk about like a pyramid or an iceberg or something like that, where the base is really important. It's the solid part that's holding it all together, and I really like that. If we don't take care of the ready to learn and the what to learn, good luck getting up to these high levels of Bloom's taxonomy and conceptual learning. So I do love thinking about the rubric as starting at the at the bottom and working our way up. And that's why if you go out on a learning walk, a lot of times, because of the teachers that taught me this, we actually go through the rubric backwards. We actually don't read it from the top to the bottom. And it's because of this. Right here, it's because of this pyramid on here that we want to start at the bottom, at the base, and work our way up. Anyway, I love that one. Here's another one. Some teachers, this was quite a while ago, but they said, hey, these bottom 2 feel like Maslow and these top 2 feel like Bloom. And it's true. Ready to learn has a lot to do with trauma-informed practices and social emotional learning and people's intentions towards us. And so really, this whole idea of ready to learn and what to learn really do have to do with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Whereas talk to learn has to do with higher order thinking questions, and model learn has to do with conceptual understanding. So that is definitely Bloom's taxonomy at that point. We always like to tell everybody that you have to Maslow before you can Bloom. Takes us back to that pyramid a little bit, but I really do like thinking about it as Maslow and Bloom. Here's another way to think about it is, the left-hand side of the rubric, it's not bad teaching on the left and good teaching on the right. It's just more aligned with how the brain works if you're on the right-hand side, and it's less aligned when it's on the left. But the left-hand side is really more teacher-centered. It's just teachers asking good questions, higher order questions, but everything's just kind of going through the teacher. Whereas on the right-hand side of the rubric, everything's going through the student. It's very student-centered. Students are getting support from each other. They're clarifying the purpose. They're explaining their thinking. They're exploring their understanding. So it's definitely more student-centered on the right-hand side. I think this is one of the more obvious things that happens in your brain when you go out and do a learning walk, is you realize the difference between the left-hand side and the right-hand side of that rubric. it can get technical too. And these are some of my favorites. I don't know how many other people like them, but I love thinking about it as emotional regulation, that we've got to take care of all of our emotions, the adults in the classroom and the kids. And then I never stop thinking about selective attention. There's the neuroscience behind selective attention is so cool. And so I really think about that a lot. Elaborative rehearsal, I think, is at the heart of powerful teaching and learning. And then symbolic reasoning, the idea that the brain reasons symbolically. If we're not using hands-on models and pictures, then good luck. So I do love that part. I know it starts to get a little technical, but I love that one. You know, over the years, my brain, now this is one that I kind of put together after listening to some folks, but I love thinking about it, that Ready to Learn is not just classroom management, but it's amygdala management. And what to learn is not just procedural doing what we're going to do today, but it's actually what do we want our brain to learn today? It's cerebral learning. What are we going to learn today? And then, talk to learn is not just question and answer with the teacher. We're not just talking to the teacher. We're supposed to be explaining our understanding to our peers. We're supposed to be having question and discussion. And then the whole idea of model to learn is we've got to get away from just recalling information. I give you information, you give it back or copy it, to truly conceptual understanding. So I do love thinking about it this way as well. This is my favorite one. This is the one that I kind of keep in mind now. The last one I'm going to share here, I think. Just the idea that, Ready and What to Learn really are about amygdala management. The students are not going to learn in class unless the amygdala is calmed down. And we've got to get the information through the hippocampus. So these two, like, I love thinking about this. There's like, if there was just two habits rather than four habits, they'd be this: amygdala management and hippocampus management. Just the idea of we want to calm the amygdala down so we can get information through the hippocampus. So anyway, I know I'm probably the only one that loves that, but anyway, that's another way to think about it. All right. Well, and the last thing I want to say is we use the reason we want to understand the rubric. We use the rubric for our own self-reflection. The more you understand the rubric and how it's put together and how to use it when you go out and do a Star Learning Walk, the more you can use it for your own personal reflection. All right. Well, hopefully that was helpful. Hey, it's just something, pretty simple. It's straightforward. It's about the 4 habits rubric, but I hope you enjoyed hearing different ways you could think about the rubric.